Most people think emergency rescue services deal with serious accidents, natural disasters, and life-threatening situations that require professional intervention. Then there are these rescues, which prove that humans have an extraordinary talent for getting themselves stuck in situations that defy both logic and basic physics. Buckle up for a masterclass in how creative people can be when it comes to trapping themselves. 1. A 35-year-old man got stuck in a baby swing at a playground while trying to prove to his kids that it could hold adult weight. His hips wedged firmly into the seat designed for toddlers, and his legs dangled helplessly while children gathered to watch the entertainment. Firefighters had to cut the swing chains and use soap to lubricate his hips before he could be freed from the playground equipment designed for people 1/10 his size. 2. A woman became trapped in her own sports bra after working out, when the sweaty fabric shrunk and her arms got tangled in the straps during removal attempts. She spent 3 hours contorting in her bathroom before calling paramedics, who had to cut the bra off with medical scissors while she stood there in embarrassment. The rescue team later admitted it was their first sports bra extraction and suggested she invest in bras with easier removal mechanisms. 3. A man got his head stuck in a decorative garden fence while trying to retrieve a frisbee that had landed on the other side. His head fit through the bars going in but wouldn't come back out due to ear positioning and panic-induced neck swelling. Firefighters used liquid soap and spent 45 minutes slowly working his head back through the fence, while neighbors gathered to document the extraction process. 4. A teenager became wedged in a McDonald's playground tube slide after growing 6 inches since his last visit, but failing to update his assessment of his own size. He got stuck halfway down the tube with his shoulders jammed against the sides, blocking other children from using the slide. Restaurant staff had to partially disassemble the playground equipment, while the teen remained trapped in the colorful plastic tunnel for 2 hours. 5. A woman got stuck in her car's sunroof after climbing through it during a road trip bathroom emergency, forgetting that sunroofs are designed for ventilation rather than human passage. Her hips became wedged in the opening, with her legs dangling into the car and her torso outside on the roof. Highway patrol officers used car jack equipment to slightly widen the sunroof opening, while she remained suspended in the automotive aperture. 6. A man became trapped under his own couch after crawling underneath to retrieve his phone charger and misjudging the clearance space between furniture and floor. His broad shoulders wedged under the sofa frame, and his attempts to back out only pushed him further underneath the furniture. Emergency responders had to lift the couch while he wiggled free, covered in dust bunnies and embarrassment from his furniture entrapment. 7. A college student got stuck in a dormitory washing machine while trying to retrieve clothes that had fallen behind the drum during a laundry retrieval attempt gone wrong. Her arm became wedged in the machine's inner workings, and her shoulder pressed against the doorframe, preventing withdrawal. Campus security and local firefighters spent 3 hours carefully disassembling parts of the washing machine while she remained trapped in the laundry equipment. 8. A woman became stuck in a clothing store dressing room after getting tangled in a dress with complex strap configurations during a trying-on session. The dress straps wrapped around her arms and head in a way that prevented removal, and her struggles only tightened the fabric prison. Store employees called emergency services when they couldn't untangle the clothing situation, and paramedics had to cut strategic holes in the dress to free her from the fashion trap. 9. A man got his hand stuck in a vending machine while trying to retrieve a candy bar that had gotten stuck on the glass, creating a double-stuck situation involving both snack and human. His arm was wedged up to the elbow in the machine's retrieval slot, and his hand was wrapped around the candy bar he refused to release. Maintenance workers had to partially dismantle the vending machine while he maintained his grip on the chocolate bar that had started the entire predicament. 10. A teenager became wedged in a storm drain after attempting to retrieve a basketball that had bounced into the drainage system during street basketball game. His shoulders fit through the drain opening but became stuck when he tried to climb back out with the ball in one hand. Firefighters used ropes and pulleys to extract him from the storm drain while he clutched the basketball that had caused his underground entrapment. 11. A woman got stuck in a kiddie pool while trying to help her toddler with pool activities, forgetting that adult hips don't fit well in containers designed for small children. Her legs became wedged in the small pool walls, and her attempts to stand up only pushed her deeper into the colorful plastic basin. Neighbors had to cut the pool walls with garden shears while she sat trapped in the children's swimming vessel, filled with 6 inches of water. 12. A man became trapped in his own dog door after attempting to unlock his house when he forgot his keys, misjudging both the door size and his own body dimensions. His shoulders wedged in the pet entrance with his head and one arm inside the house and the rest of his body stuck outside. Firefighters had to enlarge the dog door opening while he remained suspended in the pet access portal, questioning his problem-solving abilities. 13. A college student got stuck in a library book return slot while trying to retrieve an overdue book she had dropped into the return system by mistake. Her arm became wedged in the slot up to her shoulder, and the book remained just out of reach in the collection bin below. Library staff and emergency responders spent 2 hours carefully dismantling the book return mechanism, while she remained attached to the literary deposit system. 14. A woman became trapped in a public bathroom stall when the door lock mechanism jammed, and her attempts to climb over the stall walls resulted in getting stuck straddling the partition. Her legs dangled on both sides of the stall wall, and she couldn't get down without assistance from people she'd never met. Maintenance workers had to remove the entire stall door while she remained perched on the bathroom divider in an extremely awkward position. 15. A man got his head stuck in a pumpkin while carving jack-o'-lanterns for Halloween, after deciding to test whether the pumpkin was large enough by inserting his head into the carved opening. The pumpkin fit over his head easily but wouldn't come off due to ear positioning and the pumpkin's internal ridges. Emergency responders had to carefully cut the pumpkin away from his head while he sat blindly in the orange gourd, regretting his Halloween experimentation. 16. A teenager became wedged in a playground climbing structure designed for elementary school children after accepting a dare to prove he could still fit through the equipment he'd used years earlier. His hips became stuck in a climbing tube, and his legs kicked helplessly while younger children gathered to observe the teenage predicament. School maintenance staff had to disassemble part of the playground, while he remained trapped in the children's climbing apparatus. 17. A woman got stuck in her own bathtub after falling asleep during a relaxing bath and sliding down into a position where her knees jammed against the tub sides and her back pressed against the drain end. Her legs were folded at impossible angles, and the slippery tub surface prevented her from getting enough leverage to stand up. Paramedics had to drain the tub and use specialized lifting equipment to extract her from the bathroom fixture designed for relaxation rather than entrapment. 18. A man became trapped in a revolving door after his backpack got caught in the mechanism during a windy day when he was rushing into a building. The door stopped rotating with him wedged in one compartment, unable to move forward or backward due to the jammed pack and wind pressure. Building maintenance and emergency responders worked for an hour to free both him and his backpack from the circular entrance system that had become a temporary prison. 19. A college student got stuck in a dorm room window while trying to sneak back into the building after forgetting his key card during a late-night food run. His hips wedged in the window frame halfway through, with his legs dangling outside the building and his torso inside the room. Campus security and local firefighters had to use ropes and pulleys to safely extract him from the third-floor window opening while he contemplated his life choices. 20. A woman became trapped in a shopping cart after sitting in the child seat area as a joke, discovering that adult hips don't easily exit spaces designed for toddler transportation. Her legs became wedged in the cart opening, and the metal sides pressed against her thighs, preventing easy removal. Store employees called emergency services when soap and cooking oil failed to lubricate her enough to escape the shopping cart that had become an unexpected vehicle prison. 21. A man got stuck in a chimney while attempting to surprise his family by dressing as Santa Claus for Christmas morning, misjudging both chimney dimensions and his own body size. His shoulders wedged firmly in the flue about halfway down, with his legs kicking helplessly above the roofline. Firefighters had to set up ladder trucks and use ropes to pull him back up through the chimney, while his family watched their Santa rescue operation. 22. A teenager became wedged in a fast food restaurant booth after sliding too far under the table during an attempt to retrieve dropped food and getting trapped by the table's support structure. His shoulders pressed against the booth bottom, and his legs stuck out awkwardly while other customers stepped around his predicament. Restaurant staff had to partially disassemble the booth seating, while he remained stuck under the dining furniture, surrounded by his scattered French fries. 23. A woman got stuck in a yoga pose during a class when her leg became trapped behind her head, and muscle cramps prevented her from untangling the complex position. Her flexibility had gotten her into the pose, but tension and panic made it impossible to reverse the human pretzel configuration. Paramedics had to carefully manipulate her limbs while she remained twisted in the yoga position that had transformed from exercise into entrapment. 24. A man became trapped in a porta potty when the door latch mechanism broke and the wind blew the structure over onto its side with him inside. The plastic bathroom tipped over during a windstorm, trapping him in the overturned portable toilet with the door jammed shut. Emergency responders had to upright the structure and cut open the door while he remained imprisoned in the sideways bathroom facility. 25. A college student got stuck in a dormitory laundry chute after attempting to ride it down to the basement laundry room, discovering that human bodies don't slide through chutes designed for clothing and bedding. His shoulders wedged in the chute about one floor down, with his legs dangling in the upper floor opening. Maintenance workers had to cut access holes in the chute walls, while he remained suspended in the vertical tunnel, designed for laundry rather than student transportation. 26. A woman became trapped in her car's back seat after climbing back there to retrieve something, and getting wedged between the seat and the door in an awkward position that prevented movement in any direction. Her legs were folded under her body, and her arms were trapped by the seat configuration, making self-extraction impossible. Emergency responders had to remove the car door while she remained contorted in the back seat space that had become an automotive puzzle. 27. A man got his arm stuck in a mail slot while trying to unlock his door from the inside, after locking himself out and reaching through the mail opening. His arm fit through the slot easily but swelled from the awkward position, and wouldn't come back out through the narrow opening. Firefighters had to enlarge the mail slot while he remained attached to his own front door, learning that mail slots aren't designed for human appendage passage. 28. A teenager became wedged in a playground tire swing after growing since his last visit, but attempting to squeeze into the tire opening anyway during a nostalgic playground visit. His hips stuck firmly in the tire and his legs dangled helplessly while the swing rotated slowly in the breeze. Park maintenance staff had to cut the tire swing chains while he remained trapped in the rubber circle that had become an unexpected restraint device. 29. A woman got stuck in a clothing store's circular clothing rack after crawling inside to retrieve a dropped earring and getting trapped when her shoulders wedged between the hanging clothes and the rack structure. The clothing pressed around her from all sides, and her attempts to back out only tangled her further in the garments. Store employees had to remove all the clothing, while she remained trapped in the center of the circular rack like a human merchandise display. 30. A man became trapped under a vending machine after it tipped forward while he was trying to shake loose a stuck snack, pinning him between the machine and the ground. The heavy vending machine pressed across his back and legs, preventing movement while the stuck snacks rattled inside the fallen machine. Emergency responders had to use hydraulic jacks to lift the vending machine while he lay trapped under the snack dispensing equipment. 31. A college student got stuck in a campus statue after climbing inside a decorative sculpture for a photo opportunity, and discovering that the artistic opening was designed for visual appeal rather than human occupancy. Her hips wedged in the statue's opening, and her legs dangled from the artwork while tourists gathered to photograph the living statue exhibit. Maintenance workers had to use cutting tools to enlarge the statue opening, while she remained incorporated into the campus art display. 32. A woman became trapped in an elevator between floors when she tried to climb out through the ceiling emergency hatch and got stuck halfway through the opening with her legs dangling in the elevator car. The hatch opening was too small for her shoulders, and her position prevented her from dropping back down into the elevator safely. Firefighters had to access the elevator shaft while she remained suspended between floors in the emergency hatch that had become her personal trap. 33. A man got stuck in a pool slide after his swim shorts caught on a bolt inside the slide tube, creating a fabric anchor that prevented him from sliding down or climbing back up. His shorts stretched but wouldn't tear free from the bolt, leaving him trapped in the middle of the water slide. Pool maintenance staff had to partially disassemble the slide, while he remained stuck in the aquatic tube wearing stretch swimwear. 34. A teenager became wedged in a fast food drive-through window after leaning too far through the opening to reach for food and getting his shoulders stuck in the window frame designed for food passage rather than customer transit. His upper body hung into the restaurant while his legs remained in the car, creating a human bridge between vehicle and building. Restaurant staff called emergency services when they couldn't push him back through the drive-thru window. 35. A woman got trapped in a department store mannequin display after crawling behind the figures to retrieve a dropped credit card and becoming wedged between the display platform and the wall. The space was too narrow for her shoulders, and her position prevented her from backing out or moving forward toward the credit card. Store security had to move the entire mannequin display while she remained trapped behind the plastic fashion models. 36. A man became stuck in a playground tunnel slide when his knees jammed against the sides during an attempt to relive childhood memories, discovering that adult leg dimensions don't work well in equipment designed for children. His knees locked against the tunnel walls, and his position prevented him from sliding down or backing up through the colorful plastic tube. Maintenance workers had to cut ventilation holes in the slide while he remained trapped in the children's play equipment. 37. A college student got wedged in a dormitory ceiling tile after climbing into the space above to retrieve a frisbee and having the ceiling grid collapse around her shoulders. The metal ceiling framework trapped her arms while her legs dangled through the tile opening into the room below. Campus maintenance had to carefully dismantle the ceiling grid while she hung suspended between floors like a human chandelier. 38. A woman became trapped in a public bathroom baby-changing station after sitting on it to tie her shoes and having the spring-loaded mechanism close around her waist. The changing table folded up with her sitting on it, pinning her against the wall in the baby care equipment. Maintenance workers had to carefully release the spring mechanism while she remained folded into the wall-mounted baby-changing apparatus. 39. A man got stuck in a restaurant high chair after sitting in it as a joke during a birthday celebration and discovering that his hips wouldn't fit back through the chair opening designed for toddlers. The wooden high chair trapped his lower body while his legs stuck out awkwardly from the children's seating. Restaurant staff had to saw through the chair arms while he remained seated in the toddler furniture that had become an adult restraint device. 40. A teenager became wedged in a shopping mall fountain after wading in to retrieve coins and getting his foot caught between decorative rocks, while water continued to flow around him. His ankle trapped between the fountain stones, and the slippery surfaces prevented him from getting enough leverage to free his foot. Mall security called emergency services when multiple people couldn't help extract him from the decorative water feature. 41. A woman got trapped in her own closet when a clothing rod collapsed, and the fallen garments and rod created a barrier she couldn't move from inside the small space. The clothes pile blocked the closet door, and her position in the back corner prevented her from reaching the obstruction to clear it. Firefighters had to remove the closet door while she remained buried under her own clothing collection in the wardrobe space. 42. A man became stuck in a grocery store checkout divider after his belt got caught on the metal barrier while he was reaching for groceries, creating a tether that prevented him from moving away from the checkout lane. The belt loop snagged on the divider's edge, and his position prevented him from reaching the buckle to release himself. Store employees had to cut his belt while he remained attached to the checkout equipment, like a grocery store chain. 43. A college student got wedged in a library study carrel after falling asleep and sliding down into a position where her shoulders jammed under the desk surface, and her legs became trapped by the chair configuration. The furniture trapped her in a sitting position that prevented standing or lying down comfortably. Library staff called emergency services when they couldn't reposition the furniture enough to free her from the study space that had become an academic prison. 44. A woman became trapped in an airplane bathroom when turbulence caused her to fall and wedge herself between the toilet and the wall in the tiny space, with her arms trapped by the confined dimensions. The airplane bathroom's compact design prevented her from changing position or calling for help effectively. Flight attendants had to partially remove bathroom fixtures while she remained wedged in the aircraft lavatory at 30,000 feet. 45. A man got stuck in a museum display case after leaning over the barrier to get a closer look at an exhibit and losing his balance, falling into the case with his legs hanging over the display edge. The case was too deep for him to climb out, and the valuable exhibits prevented staff from simply pulling him up by his legs. Museum security called emergency services when they couldn't extract him without potentially damaging the historical artifacts surrounding him. 46. A teenager became wedged in a water park tube slide when she and her friend tried to go down together and got jammed in the narrow section designed for single riders, creating a human blockage that stopped water flow. Their combined width exceeded the tube dimensions, and the water backup created additional pressure that held them in place. Park staff had to drain the entire slide system while they remained trapped in the aquatic transportation tube. 47. A woman got trapped in a revolving door at a hotel when her flowing dress got caught in the mechanism during a windy day, wrapping around the door's axis and preventing rotation in either direction. The dress fabric wound tighter with each attempted movement, creating a textile anchor that held both her and the door system immobile. Hotel maintenance had to cut strategic holes in her dress while she remained tethered to the entrance system by her own clothing. 48. A man became stuck in a park bench when he slipped while sitting down, and his hips wedged between the seat slats, with his legs sticking straight out and his body trapped by the wooden bench design. The bench slats pressed against his hips from both sides, and his position prevented him from getting enough leverage to lift himself out. Park maintenance workers had to remove several bench boards while he remained seated in the outdoor furniture that had become a wooden trap. 49. A college student got wedged in a dormitory window screen after pushing against it during a phone call and falling partially through the screening material, which stretched around her shoulders like a net. The screen material trapped her arms while her upper body hung outside the building, suspended by the window screen that had become an unexpected safety net. Campus maintenance had to cut the screening while she hung in the window opening like a human fly. 50. And finally, there's Marcus, who became trapped in his own basement after a DIY home improvement project went wrong, and a fallen ceiling beam blocked the stairway while he was downstairs. The beam wedged diagonally across the stairs, creating a barrier too heavy for him to move alone and too low for him to crawl under safely. His attempts to climb over the beam only knocked down more ceiling materials, further blocking his exit route. Emergency responders had to cut through his basement ceiling from above while he remained trapped in his own home's lower level, surrounded by the results of his enthusiastic but poorly planned renovation project that had turned his basement into an accidental bunker, where he spent 6 hours contemplating the wisdom of DIY home improvement and the importance of having backup exit strategies. Here's the brutal truth about getting stuck. Humans have an extraordinary talent for finding ways to trap themselves in situations that defy common sense and basic physics. These rescue stories prove that people can turn literally any object, space, or piece of equipment into a personal prison with enough creativity and poor judgment. The real emergency was the decision-making process that led to these predicaments in the first place. Want to know the secret to avoiding embarrassing rescue situations? Think twice before testing whether you still fit in children's equipment, read warning labels, and remember that if something seems too small for you, it probably is. But if you do get stuck somewhere ridiculous, at least you'll have a great story to tell. Subscribe if you want to keep your dignity longer than these people kept their freedom.